All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Conversation with Styles, episode 3. On today's episode, we got a really good friend of mine. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself to you guys.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Chris, the Arkhightek Dominguez, owner of Creative Arts LLC. Maybe you see me, maybe you haven't.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so first and foremost, the architect is the way I met him was just seeing his artwork. And he was well connected with so many different artists that I personally I'm either connected with, was connected with, or wanted to connect with. So I just kind of seen him, and then I listened to his music, and was like, man, this dude is kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? He's doing a lot with a lot of people that are doing his thing. So let me reach out to him and just see if he'd be interested to come to the studio. And then when I actually met him, heard him freestyle, he showed me like more of his library. Then I was like, oh man, this dude is like super fucking talented, like way more than what I've even seen, just a little bit. So from there, we developed a friendship. And so that's kind of what I want him to talk about is where his role in the Denver hip hop scene, the art scene, the creative scene in general, and like where he wants to go with that.
Yeah, so, speaking on us first connecting, it was definitely, you remember, like, you sent me a beat. Like, you would sound dope on this. So that was dope. As far as the scene in general, like, I've been connected in the Colorado scene, working in the scene for a long time, since a teenager, pretty much. But art is definitely one of those big things that I lean heavy on. So creating cover art, doing animation, music videos, shooting music videos, graphic design, logo design, illustration. Anything creative, anything that I find creative is something that I was trying to tap into and still tapping into. And so that's kind of how I started connecting with a lot of people. And like not only that, but just rapping in the scene and making music with my brother and, a lot of people. But it came down to like the artwork was something that a lot of people noticed. And so like cover arts, for example, was just something that people really were like, hey, can you draw this for me? Can you do this? And so I was like, yeah, sure. And then I think like the first big cover that I did, like that I thought was dope, was for Infinite Minds. You ever heard of Infinite Minds?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Infinite Minds. They like, I think Dino, he actually like paid me. He was like the first person like, hey, you want to do some cover art for me? I like your artwork. And this was back when everybody was on MySpace, MySpace days. So I was just like, sure, let's do it. And ever since then, I was just like, yo, people really like the cover. People really like the artwork. Let me just, try to share that with other people and just, give people great identity when it comes down to their music and the art matching.
One thing that stood out to me, because there's a lot of dope graphic designers that cover art, whatever it may be, in Denver. Few that come to mind, MCU Raya, he does some pretty dope stuff. Those are the two that I personally connected with, that if I wasn't doing it myself, I would probably reach out to one of you guys.
Yeah.
But what's unique about your work as opposed to anyone else's I've seen is a lot of the stuff you can tell is like custom made. Like you're actually drawing these figures and drawing the animation as opposed to like a template or just finding something, off the internet.
Yeah, photo manipulation, stuff like that. That's because a lot of like when I started out, like I've been drawing my whole life. So it was just always a pencil and a paper, I wanted to make comic books. And so I'm drawing a lot of things that are in comic books, superheroes, villains, stuff, cartoons and animation. So like that was always an interest. So like custom making the artwork has always been like the main thing. But yeah, photo manipulation is dope too. Taking pieces of this, putting them all together.
That's 90% of what I'm doing.
Yeah, and
like I can't draw for nothing.
And that's the basis behind graphic design too, though. It's just taking these elements, and it's the same thing that I'm doing. I just like to get my hands dirty and get in there and do it because it's how I've always been doing it. You know? So it's like transitioning from back in the day from just drawing on pencil and paper to like digital art was like a crazy massive leap for me. Like that was one of those things that took a minute for me to adjust to because a lot of my stuff was like I said, pencil, paper, ink, markers,
shading and stuff.
Yeah. But
so how does that translate? Just curious, like how does that translate in a digital space? Like obviously, if you're drawing something, a full picture in pencil, you're shading it with just one color. You know what I mean?
Right.
How does that? How did that translate for you? I get the concept from like digitally, but like how was that different from you to be like, oh, now I can literally, I have every color, every like, you know, all these different tools to add to where like I can literally create pretty much whatever comes in out of my mind.
It took the concept of like, you know, basic graphic design and taking photos and manipulating them and just being like, oh, I could do that with my artwork too. I could take this one piece of paper or this one character on this piece of paper, and I could take this character on this piece of paper, and I could put them together.
In the same world.
And so when I started like color theory and learning about that, because I did go to art school, that was just an easy transition because I just like, oh, here's how you color and here's how you shade. But these digital tools give you multiple like different brushes, right? So you can have a watercolor brush, a shading brush, you know, all these different brushes that you can not only like built in to the programs like Adobe Photoshop, but you could download custom ones and stuff. So that's what really got me into learning different techniques, is trying out different brushes and different colors and seeing how they blend and messing with the blending modes and all that stuff. So it was a lot of curiosity that opened up. But as far as like the translation, the iPad is probably the best product I've ever owned in my life, just because of the fact that I could just draw wherever I go, like a pen and paper.
And then transfer it into a digital file.
Yeah, exactly. And I could do so. You still get that authenticity of just being able to draw, but also, you know, doing whatever you want with it.
Okay. So to kind of transition from that, from the artwork into the music, first let's kind of start and go back to like your influences, whether it be, you know, family, friends, artists, you know, on a commercial level. Just like, let's start with your influences. What got you into music to even begin with, and then kind of go off of that to a condensed timeline from there to where we're at now, and how that evolution all kind of process happened. I know that's a big one, but let's like a condensed kind of version of that.
We'll do what they call in the video game world a speed run, right? Basically, music has been a part of the household. Like, growing up, music has always been something that was celebrated. My mom, she loves to sing. My dad, he was a rock and roller. He played guitar. He's a guitarist. So music was always prominent in the household. Outside of just the core of us, you know, I got uncles and bands playing instruments. I got aunties singing. And then music is always just being played in the household. So the interest was very young. I mean, my mom used to say that, like, because my dad, he was a rocker, so he would have posters on the wall of, you know, rock and roll artists and their album covers. And I'm over here as a kid naming who these people are. Iron Maiden and Metallica, Megadeth, or whatever, you know. So, like, very young, it was just like, my family made music, so it's who I was. But there was a lot of years of my life where I just didn't make music as a kid. I'm a kid. It was something that was like, I'm going to make music one day. It was just...
It was more as a fan at that age.
Fan. So I started rapping when I was 11 years old.
Oh, damn. I didn't know. I don't think you ever told me that.
Yeah, I started rapping when I was 11. And a part of the reason was because I'm the youngest of four. all four boys, and my two oldest brothers, Ruckus and Manifest, they're rapping. They're 5, 6 years older than me. They're rapping. They're into hip hop. My uncle's into hip hop, and they start a crew with their homies in high school, and they're rapping. And so I looked up to them. I was like, yo, I already like rap music. We already rap it along to, fucking Tupac and trying to rap along to Bone Thugs.
Yeah.
Half of the words, I don't know what they saying at the time.
Especially Bone Thugs.
You're right, exactly. So it's like, I want to get this. It's like, what the? I like the melodies too. Bone was huge, but I think the first song I ever remembered the lyrics to was probably "Gangster's Paradise" by
that
Coolio.
might have been.
And like as far back memory as I have, what's the first song that I remember rapping along the lyrics to like that? It was probably "Gangster's Paradise."
Mine was I can't remember, the name keeps slipping my mind, but I said a hip. A hip it to the hip it.
Yeah,
I had got that on a tape, and
Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight.
I did learn the lyrics to that one too.
That was the one I could. That's like the furthest memory of me like remembering lyrics to a song
for the hip hop. Yeah. So now my brothers are rapping right with their homies and the crew, and I'm just like, yo, this is so dope. Like they could rap, I could rap too. Let me try to rap. So first and foremost, like just the family in general is like why I started making music, because that's what we were doing. I learned how to play guitar a couple years after that, 13, 14. And my dad, he showed me the basics and just kind of picked up from there and started learning. So when I really got into playing guitar, I stopped rapping altogether. It's not that I didn't want to rap, it was just I was really intrigued on how this instrument worked. So I'm feeding more attention to learning how to play the instrument, which I think helped a lot with the music in general, just understanding structures of songs and, all the chords and progressions and all this kind of stuff. So years later, by the time I hit 18, I've recorded in studios. I'm playing guitar pretty much almost every day. My senior year in high school, I had a guitar with me everywhere I went. I used to rock a guitar backpack, and I wouldn't wear a regular. You
went to Westy?
No, I went to. So I started out at Lincoln High School.
Lincoln, okay.
And then we transferred and started living at Thornton, and I went to this small little charter school called Pinnacle.
Off of 84th?
Yeah, now it's bigger, but like my graduating class was only like 27 people.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it was small. But it was cool because everything was kind of tight-knit in high school. So like, yeah, the seniors knew freshmen.
Yeah.
Whereas in like, and it was definitely a big culture shock because I'm coming from Lincoln High School, and like, when I was there freshman years, like, I'd be lucky to know any senior, and if I did, they were the ones on the basketball team,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely different. But senior year in high school, I'm rocking a guitar everywhere I go, and I'm just playing it nonstop. So by the time I graduate, I've recorded, been in the studio, I've performed on stage, I've playing my guitar everywhere. So I'm just like, this is what I kind of really want to do. I want to just make music, like outside of doing artwork. And I view both of them as art. So that's why I just say I'm just an artist at the end of the day, not just a rapper, singer, all that stuff. Just artist, whatever, a creative. That's how you get creative arts.
There you go.
But yeah, fast forward to today. A lot of transition throughout the life of just making music is a constant progression of just trying to get better and learn and share that knowledge with whoever else I can who wants to learn and study from what I got whatever I got.
That's one thing I'll add that I just highly respect about not only yourself but your brother, Sav, someone like myself, my cousin, the franchise, like Dent. There's just so many people that the whole narrative of like everyone hates on everyone. We get that narrative is out there. It's real, but what we've always talked about internally is like, okay, but what can we do about it to like instead of just complaining about it, like, which we've all had those moments, and any artist feels like, man, why doesn't the city really just like
rally behind you,
and then what people fail to realize is when you start taking initiative yourself and reaching out to people that you might have seen that you respect or might like their artwork, and just kind of bringing them into your world and saying, well, this is what I bring to the table. I like what you bring to the table. Now let's just put our tables together.
Right.
And now we have a bigger table. Oh, okay. Now we bring in your Fest and Sav. They bring something totally different to the table. They're going to scoot their tables in. And like, so there's that whole thing. And I've always liked the way you just you're really humble. You maneuvered through like the scene so like graciously, bro. And a lot of people can say that they can like kind of go to this circle and get the same love as they would get from this circle over here. And that's what I've noticed about you is like you're a real person first and foremost. Like what you see, what you hear on the records, all that's who you are. You carry yourself with like respect and honor and all that, bro. Like, so first and foremost that, but then on top of that, the way you like are just so cool with everybody, bro. Like you're about the music, you're about the art. You don't let like, oh, well, this person's beefing with that person. Okay, well, that ain't got shit to do with me. You need cover art. You know what I mean? So I see a lot of myself in you, and those are the type of people that I have no issue like, joining forces with in a way. So that's kind of what we're all about, and that's what this podcast is kind of focusing on, is letting people know, yeah, this is what we do, but this is also like how we're giving back, and we're a part of the community. We're not just talking about it.
I think one of the main things, like going back to talking about like influences outside of the family, right? Just like speaking on that of the scene itself, right? I would like to say that I come from a lineage of like Dant, right? Like if you look at the Colorado hip hop tree, I would fall under his branches. Someone like Dant, someone like Spoken Words. And so, those are people who influenced me a lot. Of course, Infinite Minds, seeing my brother Fest work with cats like Zone from Diamond Boys and Dialect, and, meeting people like throughout the scene and navigating through the scene. I was always the younger brother. So, like, I'm experiencing a lot of the shit that my brother is going through, but he's like 4 or 5 years older than me. All of his homies are 4 or 5 and above older than me. So I'm seeing a lot of this scene before the internet really starts taking over, right?
Yeah.
And that transition of what the older heads are doing, and then the newer generation who is studying those guys, like, studying when Pierre.
I always feel like our age group is the perfect bridge gap between the boom bat, old school NWA, 90s, like true hip hop essence. Everything you're hearing is all samples.
To the streaming, right?
Yeah, to the Nipsey Hussles and Kendrick Lamars and Drakes. And then even our time, like when we were like high school age, like just about to become an adult, you start adding guys like Kanye, 50 Cent, The Game.
Right.
So we were kind of this rare, almost the same with technology. We're this rare breed of like, we still remember what it felt like to watch like records and all of that, but also are putting our music on streaming sites. So it's like this full circle moment of like, we still respect and understand what it was, but we also know and are smart enough to evolve into what it is and what it's going to be.
Yeah, but that's the thing though too. Like if the position that we are in is a great position because of that. Like we have the power to shape the future, right? Without being so stuck in our ways. But I mean, there's definitely traditions that need to be upheld, especially in hip hop in general, right? But yeah.
Speaking of that, just a random thing that came to mind. What would you, if you want to just real quickly go a little more in depth, like somebody gave you a special button, you hit this button and it'll either fix, change, or remove a certain aspect, like type of music. Like what, if you could just erase or bring back, whether it be an artist, a type of like feel, like do you want to get rid of streaming and just bring back just pushing CDs? Like what would you do?
I think if I was to have a button to change anything, appreciation would be the appreciation of music and the art form. I think it's definitely been devalued a lot to the point where people expect it to be free. When us artists do spend a lot of time learning this art form, right? But that's just
And
art.
everything that comes with that.
Right, exactly.
The anticipation of an album that you have to go physically out and buy. You can't just open up a phone. And even let's say, because obviously streaming isn't going anywhere, but let's say, for instance, they took away free streams. Like you either had to have a subscription, which that artist gets a percentage of that subscription just by them being on your platform, or you can't just like, let's say your new album drops, they could go to your Spotify, but they have to pay whatever, $10 or whatever to do it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, not necessarily that. Just the how microwave some of the music could be, just because it's demographic. It's 15 to 30-second audience who's gonna scroll.
Yeah, no, they don't really listen to music. They listen for the clip.
Exactly. So like, but yeah, that's inevitable. I don't know how much what would change in that aspect, but like, yeah, appreciation. But the people who do appreciate, you start finding those people anyways.
Yeah.
And the other people end up weeding themselves out or disappearing altogether because they can't sustain off of nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. I don't think there's really anything too crazy to change. Super fandom is another thing. I mean, I would say that is another button you could press. Like people,
I'll push it right now. I pushed it yesterday.
Like defending people. Like, I mean, we do have a lot of like respect and admiration for certain artists, especially if you're in the genre. Like Andre 3000 is my fucking favorite rapper ever, right? Do I like the fact that he's making flute albums? No, not really. Am I listening to it? Yeah. Do I have an opinion? Of course. And I feel like I should have an opinion because I'm someone who actually supports the artist. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who live vicarious or start defending these people and like to the point where it's like, do you worship this guy or what?
It's a fine line.
Still a human,
between supporting, respecting, and even going as far as admiring this person. Because I admire. You could see my room is covered in people that I admire. But there are certain things that every one of these individuals on my wall have done, or said, or stand for that I don't agree with, or if somebody else doesn't like what they do or agree with. But I would never like take it as far as to like lashing out at somebody, over someone I don't know. If that makes sense. Like, that's that super, there's a line, support them, be in for, even defend them. Hey man, you may be misinformed about this person. I know actually a lot more than you probably do because this is like my favorite artist. Here's an article. Maybe read that before you judge him so hard. That's respectable.
Yeah.
That's defending the artist in a respectable way. But yeah, there's got to be.
But it's the internet. The internet breeds a lot of toxicity, so you can't take everything too serious all the time. But yeah, those are kind of the two things I would say more than anything. Back to yeah.
So as far as going back to you and your music. So we kind of dove deep into the influences. What do you have going on? Like one thing me and you have talked about is trying to keep up with this new way of microwave type of content. We understand that, but also like trying to keep that real essence of the art and not losing just trying to microwave everything, but like that balance of content creation, but still being true to who you are and not being goofy. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of angles you can go that we see, everyone can see on TikTok. There's the goofy route where people just like almost make fun of themselves and like get people to laugh at them or laugh with them. Then there's like
the rage baiters.
The rage baiters, like making fun of dead artists that just died and stuff. That.
Why would they do that? Those people are crazy, bro.
That's one way. Then there's like the fake false information where you purposely say something that you know is not true, and then people are like, well, "Are you an idiot?"
The people who pander to specific groups.
And the one that gets that nobody ever likes is what we artists, especially ones that are kind of fall more into the early stage of hip hop, is the content creator, like music videos or just
Right.
to where we're not really forcing it down your throat. We're not trying to be silly. We're not being mean. We're not being rude. We just want you to watch it. And it seems like those are the ones, that's the hardest niche to kind of like get people to really.
I think people like drama.
Right.
I mean,
Entertainment.
Entertainment at that too. It depends on. It's tough because most people in general don't look at music the same way that musicians look at music, right? There's a
That's
lot of
true.
people who look at it as a form of entertainment or a form of escapism, right? So they could just leave their day behind. Let me get lost into the song and just, whatever. So it's kind of tough because, like, you will see the people who interact the most on the content where I'm showing, like, super artistic stuff is people who are super, like, the art stuff. So the niche is definitely very small. I think, like, you just authentically got to be yourself, consistent, of course, but it's just one of those things, like, what do you want to do and what is your goal? And then you got to expect that your goal you might not reach if you're doing a specific thing. So, I mean, what's the definition of, crazy or whatever?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over without different results. So, I mean, if you're fine with your results, what you're doing, then, it is. But if you're trying to grow an audience, sometimes you got to do something that you don't want to do.
I think that's the cool part about someone like yourself who 90% of what you do outside of really the marketing, you can do internally. You can do your own music videos.
Well, and I
so
think
it makes it easier to be creative and try new stuff without the risk of like, well, I only have a $400 budget and so this music video has to slap.
This one gotta work.
It has to, otherwise I don't have enough money to do another one for another 2 months. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing too, because like as somebody who does a lot of artwork with a lot of people in the scene, it's like I'm able to create different ideas because it's not something that necessarily I would think of by myself or for my project, right? So like say I'm working with, right now I got this project I'm working on with MC Big House, right? And his music is definitely, I mean, it would fall in the same vein as the type of music I make, but like if you ever heard his voice, he got a real distinct, deep voice, right? And the aesthetics that he has, he's from New York, so it's like, I've never even been to New York, but I love we hip hop. So it's like, you know from hip hop, but like he shares a different perspective and different ideas that he throws at me that I would have never thought of just because. And so that helps spark creativity, and working with a lot of different people makes it easier to do that. And then, I got an idea now for this person's campaign or this person's artwork.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting ideas from this side. And so I think it just all kind of works together. And it doesn't make it like...
It's almost the same musically.
It makes it to the point where I'm not like thinking too hard so much on what's the next idea that I got to create. It's what else can I learn? And
it's the same kind of concept as working with other artists.
Right.
You may have an idea going into a project. You may have already wrote a verse, wrote a hook, and then let's say Fest has a different idea, and you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, or maybe you didn't have you're struggling on something, your verse. Oh, you know what? Now I know what I'm gonna write. So it's almost like working with other people is inevitably going to grow and help you evolve, because naturally you're seeing and being placed in situations that your mind would never go to on its own.
And I'm like my own worst critic. So like I'll be creating something for myself. I'm like, I don't like this. And then just scrap a whole thing. But like being able to work with other people, you actually be like, oh yeah, they like this. Okay, so I could definitely, mold and create something specifically to their needs. It's another reason why I have this love-hate relationship with AI art, but
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro.
It is definitely fast, convenient, cheap, fun as fuck to use, but it definitely kind of sucks when you got humans out here who create really dope stuff too. But I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like in the future it's gonna normalize itself out, and everybody's gonna, have a good grasp of what, because what we're thinking of AI is more generative AI than it actually is like a robot AI in the sense of that's a whole different conversation. But,
Yeah.
you getting into them use it. I think the main thing is it really comes down to how you're using this tool, because at the end of the day, it is just another tool to use. And I mean, if you're using something, how you using a tool, if you're leading, with good intentions, if you're leading, you're not trying to steal people's work and type shit, like that, then, all makes sense. Like, I would really be interested in training an AI to create my own artwork to help delegate the process off of me. So sometimes people are like, yo, how long does it take you to create fucking an animation video? Months, bro. A long time. I hate it. Actually really love it, but it's one of those things that I jumped into, and I was definitely a big learning curve as far as timeline and deadlines for that. Like, animation stuff takes a long time, to the point where I'm like, I know I could create certain things, but it's going to take a hell of a long time to do it. Or maybe I could delegate some of the processes elsewhere. But if people use AI, shit is cheap. You don't have to hire fucking more people. So it's one of those things that says, like, how are you using it? You hear about the Timbaland signing AI artists.
Yep.
It's like you hear all these people's beats and music your whole day. You're sitting here online because they're submitting to you all their music, and you'd rather just sign.
Did you hear his diss song he made to the artist, like,
that chick who dissed him?
Yeah.
I didn't hear his reply.
He had the AI do it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it was like basically talking
you
about.
You lost, bro. You lost. Give it up.
About how people's music, like, he's basically clowning, like, I had to do this because y'all suck, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what he was
nutshell.
saying. It's like, bro, that's you lying, bro. You lying.
Yeah, he's
you lying,
he lost.
Bro.
He's still, like, musically still one of the best, but I can't. I had to, like, kind of take him off of my.
I mean, and that's kind of the same thing that happened with Lupe in a sense, right? Like, he got big backlash off of using AI. But what he did was basically train an AI model to create Lupe songs that only play once in the middle of fucking nowhere on the Lupe station. And it would play for 24 hours continuously, making new Lupe songs made from AI.
Huh. That's wild.
Yeah, he's working. He's a professor at MIT teaching rap. So, of course, he got a lot of young cats around him who were definitely interested, who probably helped him in the process of, building that model that does it. It's a pretty dope idea, but it's at the same time, he's all like, I'm not trying to monetize off of this either. It's just like a cool thing to do. But I have noticed he does use a lot of AI art in his music, like promoting his music now. I see a lot of people use it, and it's cool because you definitely get to see these people's ideas that they have in their head that they could write down. And that's why it's like a tool. Like, you could just prompt in your ideas, images will come up, and you're just like, fuck, man, like, how come I didn't think of that one? How come I think of that one? But like I said, you use it for the right ways. You could get different ideas, especially, all the pictures on Google Images only take you so far.
Yeah.
For references and stuff like that. So, use it how you want to, I guess.
Yeah, the AI, the whole, like, concept of AI and art.
I just know that if computers, I can still create art without it. So
yeah.
So I'm not tripping. I ain't even worried about it. Humans are always going to have a place as long as we're alive, right? So
that's the part. As long as they don't get smart enough to want to take us out for our own good in their eyes. So kind of going off of, like, the creation and all of that. You want to kind of talk about where we're at musically with your projects, what you have coming up. Let's start with what you have now, like right now.
Right now, starting something. That's the track. I just dropped a new single produced by the homie XV. Shout out all my people in Wichita for sure. I've been working on two projects kind of simultaneously. I started on this XV joint first, and he produced the whole project. And I got a second project that I'm working on with his producer, Seven, Mike Summers. A lot of people know him as Seven. He's
Speak real quick.
multi-platinum producer who produced for Strange.
Speaking on which, one of the songs you sent me, yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I came up with some ideas for like a hook.
Hell yeah. So yeah, this project I've been working on probably about the top of the year. I was coming off dropping my last album, Memoirs of a Hearse, in December, and then I went out to Wichita to meet up with the homie XV for his album release. And that was, I think it was in, man, I'd be losing track of days. I think it's in August is when that happened, of 2024. But yeah, we were chopping it up, connecting, talking about music, watching him perform, shot some video or whatever for our song from that project, Keep On. And so basically, I'm picking up from where that song leaves off. And it's a little narrative of me. I'm traveling through space and I crash land on planet Squaria. XV, he's a Squarian, and he has this project years ago called Planet Squaria. And so I'm just basically, how I envision this concept of this project is I'm landing where he's from. And that's why all the sounds, everything is produced by him because I'm on his planet, right? And I'm just kind of bringing my own flavor and style. So yeah, that's kind of that project in itself. And that's the first one that we're rolling out. And then after that, we're going to jump into the 7 joint. And that shit is a whole different thing. But yeah, it's definitely dope.
Is that which one is the one that like ties in the J's?
So, I don't know what I sent you. I sent you a lot of stuff. But yeah, the shoe concept is something that rolls kind of crazy through this, which is, so the name of this project that I'm doing with XV is called Planet Squaria. And it's going to be the 8th project I release. So, I a big fan of shoes, a sneakerhead. I used to own a ton before the fire happened. Through the Fire, go check that shit out if you haven't seen it. I heard it, whatever. First album. But like every project, I kind of have a shoe that I associate with it. So like Through the Fire, I was around that time really heavy rocking my T-Mac 1s. So that was kind of the shoe that represented that.
Is that
project.
the one that has the
Yeah, it
lines?
has the whole strap across the...
Yeah, I used to like those.
Then the second project, the Memoirs of a Hearse, that project I was rocking the 7s, the Flints. But yeah, this is the 8th project, and Aqua 8s are some of my favorite shoes. So
I had to bring it up because I would.
And so they're a real dominant piece of the rollout. It just signifies, the Aqua 8s, Aqua is water. Me and XV are both Cancer, water sign. And that's kind of like how this project came about, is like just talking about him being a Cancer, and he's working on this book called Hip Hop Stars, and he dives deep into all the signs and how these signs work together and connect together, and why this person and these people work well together. It's a whole book he's working on, and I got some artwork I got for that book that I'm working on. And so in the process of doing all these Cancer rappers and singers like 50 Cent, MF Doom, Lil Kim, Missy Elliott, RZA, Vince Staples, like I'm going through drawing all these Cancers, and I'm just like, yo, I didn't know that person was a Cancer. And I start diving into their catalog while I'm working on art for them, right? So I'm drawing the RZA and I'm listening to Wu-Tang shit, or I'm drawing Missy Elliott and I'm going back listening to Missy Elliott. I'm like, oh, these make sense. Of like, I'm not like super big on astrology, but talking with XV, he's giving me like, oh yeah, this is why this person's like this, and you start seeing some crazy coincidences,
connecting the dots.
And I'm
a little.
like, let me try to lean into some of that for this project. Not only am I kind of learning about these other Cancer rappers and artists, but I'm learning about myself a little bit, And so I'm like, let me lean into that, because growing up, my favorite rappers are like Gemini rappers, right? Like Tupac, Biggie, Andre 3000, Lauryn Hill, you know.
I'd be interested to know which ones are my sign. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so it's like, and then I do like a lot of Aquarius rappers too, like J. Cole and fucking Lupe Fiasco, of course. But Kanye West, he's a Gemini too. So, my birthday is June 21st, which is the beginning of summer, and it falls
literally.
Literally, it falls on the cusp, right? But there's no true cusp of a Gemini Cancer. There's only one sun, so it's wherever it's at in the sky at the time. So it changes throughout the years. But in '89, when I was born, it's the start of summer. It started Cancer season 2.
Huh,
so,
that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like starting something.
So you could kind of be too, depending on the year.
Yeah, so, but growing up in the past, a lot of my music, I'm trying to dive into the Gemini side of rappers, right? So you're thinking of Gemini, they lead in a lot more with their head, a lot more thought-provoking stuff. And of course, they got the twin, the twin side. That's why you hear stuff like Kendrick Lamar. He's a Gemini, but you hear those voice changes, right? And why he's doing those voice changes is coming from, this side and then to this side, the light and, the duality, right? You see that a lot through the Gemini. So I'm like, let me switch it up. Let me actually dive into this Cancer side of stuff. Starting something, bro. That's why I'm starting something. What are you starting? A whole new chapter in my life.
So yeah, that's, I wanted you to definitely kind of thank you for doing that, dive deep, sure. Because I want people, I already knew a lot of this because you've shared most of that, not all of it, but a lot of that with me. And these are the type of things that when people decide whether they're on the fence about the Arkhightek or not, or if they were already a fan, or maybe they never were. Right. These are the type of things that will make you feel more connected, make them feel more connected, and be like, oh, okay, this isn't just an album. Like, this is a story. This is a process. He's even like has a shoe, specific type of shoe that ties into all of this, and the music, the producer he's working with, like, it's a whole thing. Yeah. I feel like that needed to be said because people need to understand the depth to this. It's not just like, yeah, I got these cool songs by this person, and it's like, and not only that, but then it's gonna tie into something afterwards. Right. So I've always thought that was really cool. Your brother's the same thing with the Madhouse and all of that. Like, it's kind of, I did something similar with my last album last year. Yep. With the moonlight, and like the space and the earth and like kind of all of that.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm still a big fan of albums. Like, I love listening to albums. Singles are dope, but I want to hear the sequencing. If there's a story,
skits, all
theme,
that.
Like, I'm a big fan of albums. So if you got a press play album, then I can see you top tier. If you got a bunch of dope songs here and there, I still could rock with you. I'm not saying I don't rock with you, but like, that's how I separate who some of my favorites are. But yeah, like, even the stuff that you did, like, definitely helped push me into the direction I'm going on to this project as well. So like, speaking of streaming services, like how little they pay artists to nothing, right? And you're putting your stuff out there, like, and giving people an actual option to support and buy the music if they want to. And so, yeah, that's something that I'm definitely going to lean into for this project as well. Have it up for sale for people to buy if they want to support.
Yeah, it even in what I always tell artists, because I feel like that, when I started doing that, I started doing it with singles. Right. And I was making them either $1 or $2, and I would maybe, to keep it all the way 100, at most, I would maybe get 1 or 2 sales in that whole lifespan of the promotion of that particular single. So it was never anything of like, oh, I want to make a bunch of money. It was, first and foremost, it was like having my own thing of like owning this is my music. I own the rights to this. I have the right to sell this, whether anyone feels like they also have the right to not buy it, right? So, but the fact that this whole option has been completely erased from like the music scene. Right. It hasn't been erased from any other aspect of any other entertainment other than music. You can still go to the movie theater you still have to pay. Like, even if you want to watch a movie, even if you pay for Netflix, you can't watch the Jake Paul fight. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that you have to pay extra for, even if you have these streaming sites. So, yeah, that's a cool thing and I encourage you and others to continue to do that. And eventually it will balance itself out. And if you can get on top of it and ahead of it now, I feel like that's only going to help you in the long run.
I think it really comes down to, at the end of the day, owning your music and making sure you have ownership of your music, right? Or just your art in general. Whatever medium you're choosing to create. You know, if I'm making paintings on canvases, I gotta own that, unless I'm selling it to somebody, right? And it's kind of the same concept as the music. I know there's always this big stigma of like, oh, are you selling out because you want to sell your music, or that kind of stuff. And I mean, in a sense, you're never gonna please somebody like that, anyways, who's thinking too small in a box. But at the same time, it's like, are you making music for fun? Are you making music for business? And you could do it for multiple different reasons, and all those reasons could connect. Like, yeah, I do love making music for fun. I've been making my music my whole life. I would not stop for nobody,
Yeah, there's a difference between
and then
making it for fun and solely making it for fun. You're not releasing it. You're not trying to do anything really with it.
Right.
And then you still have the essence, but you also have the business mentality of like, if I can profit off of this, I will. That's never the goal, but having the opportunity to like sell merch or possibly get paid for a show. God forbid they pay an artist in Colorado for a show.
I mean, you
all that type of stuff.
You can get paid. It's a big process, and I think a part of what I like outside of just my music and what I'm doing as far as art and the scene, that's like if I have a chance to work with someone younger and they want to work with me, just giving them like free knowledge and not trying to gatekeep certain things that will actually help everybody beneficially, right?
Right.
Things like that. Like, music is an expensive art form. Most art form to create is expensive. You know how much canvases and paints and brushes? Like,
my daughter likes that stuff.
So, that kind of stuff gets expensive too. But yeah, just that's why I was talking about the value of music is definitely gone down. So, a little bit of ROI can never, hurt anybody if it's going to help create more music that people are going to love and enjoy. So that's how I look at it. A system that self-sustains itself is definitely a good system built by the architect. You got to have a nice fucking foundation and blueprint for sure.
There you go.
But yeah, this project in general, I'm definitely super excited for. I mean, I'm excited for every project that I do create. But one of the big things that I decided to do on this project is, if people know me as far as a rapper in the scene, is I do work with a lot of people. And it's never been something like, yo, you got to pay me money to work with you. Like, let's just create something dope. Like, that comes first, right? But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like taxing people. Maybe I should I'm just fucking around. But
800.
So shit, man. Like, what I got track with multi-platinum producer. What? No, I'm just playing. But like, so this project, I really wanted to make a couple more songs that are just me only, and expand. I got a track on here where I'm like singing, and I'm not like super big on singing, but. Like working with
I've heard it before.
Working with you got me into a different bag, which is nice.
And that's that full circle moment of me bringing in that artist,
right?
Marty Obey, shout out Marty Obey, Houston, Texas, bringing him in, taught both of us in real time that a whole different angle. Like, we've probably both tried to like harmonize and do some somewhat singing, but this is like full on singing stuff we tried on this track. And I would have never known I even had that voice if we wouldn't have reached out and tried to work with somebody completely different. That, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And that was one of those things too, which is on this project, that XV produced. I sent him a pack of like 5 beats.
Yeah.
XV
maybe even more.
XV sent me a crazy pack of beats. So I'm going through all these beats and I'm like, all right. Stilz is like, yo, who want to do a feature with Mario Bay? I'm I'm like, yo, I know him from your track, and that's my fucking favorite track on your project, Rolling My Ride. And I was like, yeah, that shit is hot. Every time I tell you, like, what's your favorite song from the project, it's that one. That one just gives the great vibes, and he's a great singer on it. So you're like, yo, he's doing features. I'm like, yo, let's see what I got. And so I just sent him with tracks I think he might sound good on. And the track that he picked is not one that I would have ever picked for myself. And so, but it was dope, like I said. And that's kind of like...
It pushed us out of our comfort zone.
And now really. Stilz don't rap at all anymore. Yeah, nah. You got to pay for a rap feature from Stilz. But other than that, yeah, it's one of those things that's like super dope. And what I was trying to do on this project is definitely push myself creatively, push myself in different areas that are uncomfortable. And like I said, dive into some of those cancer sounds, you know?
Yeah.
Like, look at someone like 50 Cent. He's like King Cancer, right? Like, he's the hardest motherfucking shell. I mean, cancers are considered crap, right? He's the hardest motherfucking shell. But some of his biggest songs are...
I'll take you to the candy
shop. Yeah, exactly. 21 Questions and... I mean,
yeah, actually, other than... It's either like all his biggest hits are literally for females... or the most gangsterish shit you've ever heard.
Exactly. Exactly. So like that's, I mean, so you're kind of gonna get some of that. Like I start out the project really with the more hard hitting tracks, and then it transitions and gets to more the understanding and, you know, softer side of things, which is dope.
Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, before we get into the performance, just overall, whether I kind of like to have you kind of end it with either a word of advice for, and you can say, because to the younger generation, or to like a younger version of you. Kind of this, it's kind of the same thing, but however your mind would process it, of like, if somebody, your younger version of you, or a young artist, content creator, whatever, came up to you right now and said like, what is one thing that you would kind of like tell me that could help me, or a mindset? It could be a mindset, or like try this, or carry yourself like that, or, you know, what would you kind of give?
I would say patience.
Patience?
Yeah.
And patience as in?
And I definitely dive into it, but patience, just wait, patience. No, but for real though, like definitely hard work and patience are those main things, because like even when you're working hard and consistently just fucking working hard and you're not seeing any outcome, it's coming. It's definitely like, the way that I look at it is you're building a house, right? I'm the architect, so you got to start with the foundation first. You're not going to see the roof at the bottom. You got to build that shit all the way up, and it's going to take some time. Same thing with the music or whatever you're trying to promote, or whatever, if you're going that route, or even if your goal is just to be good at something, great at something. You got to set these little intervals of goals and just complete this one at a time. You can't put the roof on if you ain't got, you know, the foundation first. You got to have the studs and then start building up the roofs and everything. So put the drywall up and all that stuff. So everything has its place in your goal. You have the big goal, but you definitely got to set those small ones.
When does the hot tub come in?
The hot tub comes in
before the roof.
I mean,
because you got to be able to jump in the hot tub.
You got indoor hot tub, outdoor hot tub, or both.
Yeah.
I would definitely put the roof on first, because who knows when rain comes? You know, you don't want to fuck it. But but yeah, patience and hard work. Those are one of the main things that I had to learn, because especially me, as my mindset back in the day, a lot of it was like, oh, I thought when I was 25 years old, I was going to be a millionaire and rich.
I was going to be here.
Have this. And it's like, you should definitely have these goals and expectations, but it's not always going to happen when you think. But as long as you're putting in that work, you know, and you got to do good work, you know, integrity, be a good person, put in that good work, stand by your word, tell people, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it, or open communication, you know, why you can't do it. And
so be a solid person, work hard, but most importantly, be patient.
Be patient. Yeah.
I dig that. Okay, so that'll wrap up the interview part. Let's go ahead and get into this performance real quick before we get into it. If you want to introduce the song, just kind of let them know what we're about to do.
Yes, sir. This is the first single off of the project Squarea called Start Something, produced by XV.
I figured if I turned over in them stones, you'd eventually find them. Where are you from? What are you doing here? Let me tell you a story.
They still asking where I'm from. Snot no city of the snow where I slum. 5280, we higher than anyone. You know cold still don't get burnt. Standing way close to the sun. Okay, now bump that. Hands high before you get jacked. If you don't spit facts up in your syntax, you need to step back. I need my get back for all the times I heard the last name. They call me wetback. No diddy boat when I drop. You better push your shit back. This industry beyond belief. I see through the deceit. Fabrication, plant-based diet that's beyond reach. Actively chasing dreams, and if you want the meals, they say you gotta be kinda meek. Damn, nasty work. You party with wrong dudes, your ass will get hurt. But first, put this mask on while you doing this dirt. But some of y'all so fake, taking off the mask hurts. Man, it's the worst. But I ain't worried about nothing. The Satanic Kid, keeping it 100. Thinking you for real, cause we seen y'all frontin'. Smoking MJ, they gotta be starting something. Yeah, they gotta be starting something. Okay, they always be starting something. Thinking you for real, cause we seen y'all frontin'. Smoking MJ, yeah. And that's it, man. Next single coming soon. The Man, August 8th. With the Ace. Yeah. Shout out XV. Gotta be starting something. Gotta be starting something.